Welcome for the 10 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight. My name is Wadulo Arnold Mark, and without further ado, let's take a look at tonight's top stories. Uganda discharges the last Ebola patient after full recovery. President Museveni urges African states to implement the APRM action plans. Magistrates Court commits Arias Lukwago to the High Court for trial. We now give you the news in detail. The Ministry of Health has discharged the last Ebola case at the National Public Health Emergency Operations Center at Mulago. This milestone now indicates that Uganda has started the countdown for 42 days, after which the country will be declared Ebola-free if no any other confirmed case is recorded. Let's have a look at the details.
On the 15th of May 2026, Uganda confirmed an imported Ebola case from the DRC, and 20 cases were registered. 2 people died and 18 survived. The National Public Health Emergency Operations Center at Mulago has now discharged the last case.
I take the opportunity to hand over the certificate our friend. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
You are all aware that 18 patients came through this unit during this epidemic, and 17 of them survived. Only 1 passed away. And for us as a health team, we are very sorry for that death, but we appreciate the effort this team has put together to help those patients.
Now, Uganda has started the countdown for 42 days, after which the country will be declared Ebola-free if no any other confirmed case is recorded.
Discharging the last patient does not mean that we are now Ebola-free. The international guidelines command us that when we discharge the last patient, then we start the countdown. The incubation period for Ebola disease is up to 21 days. So we count 2 cycles of the incubation period. So we start from now. The countdown, 21 days, then another 21 days, which makes it 42 days.
Despite the success, a report presented before Parliament by the Shadow Minister for Health reveals that an estimated economic loss of between 30 to 40 billion shillings was registered, especially in the tourism sector. In response, however, the minister equated the loss to collateral damage that was unavoidable.
Our premium of $1.7 billion US dollars of tourism sector was left exposed to international panic. The massive cancellation, Right Honorable Speaker, the ministry allowed international markets to believe the entire country was a hot zone. This triggered immediate booking cancellations during our peak May to September safari season.
The good is to protect Ugandans first. And when an outbreak like this comes out, you are hard pressed between the 2 choices: to be transparent and report the disease so that you prevent it and caution people not to get it, or to remain quiet even when there is a risk of many people contracting it. So
Uganda registered 20 confirmed cases with 2 deaths and over 160 contacts, while DRC has registered over 2,000 cases and 700 deaths. The World Health Organization commended Uganda for her preparedness that disrupted the transmission of the disease.
The number of deaths compared to the number of patients who have passed through this unit gives a case fatality rate of less than 10%, which is about one of the lowest Ebola outbreaks that has been recorded. And that is not by luck, it is not by chance. It's because people invested in preparedness, and thus we are able to get results which are this this good.
The two governments, Uganda and DRC, signed a memorandum of understanding that allowed 50 Ugandan health workers to DRC to assist in the response efforts. Adia Nakote, UBC.
Defense Forces General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who also serves as the chairman of the Patriotic League of Uganda, PLU, has assured Ugandans repatriated from South Africa that the country is stable and offers a conducive environment for investment and business. His message was delivered to the returnees currently undergoing rehabilitation and ideological orientation at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi.
Still here at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi, we're having one of the facilitators, Twaha Fadili, who is the Secretary General for the Patriotic League of Uganda. He just delivered the message from the Chief of Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who also happens to be the chairman of the Patriotic League of Uganda.
He told me to tell the returnees to be always thinking about Uganda, being patriotic, being disciplined, and they should change their mindset of xenophobia to loving each other. And then they also embrace the existing government programs, because he has said the skills they have gained from South Africa, they should bring it here in Uganda.
During his lecture, Fadili also explained the ideology of the Patriotic League of Uganda, saying the organization promotes patriotism, accountability, and the proper use of public resources. He commended the Minister for Local Government, Honorable Balamba Rugahara, for his ongoing anti-corruption campaign, describing it as a demonstration of genuine patriotism. Fadil also warned individuals issuing threats against the minister to desist from such actions.
And those who are trying to threaten Balam is a product of PLU. It's a product of General Muhoozi. For us, we are never shaken. If people think they can say that, actually we want to go to those districts, they say it should go slow. We are going there.
The Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Diana Twine, briefed the returnees on how to navigate Uganda's healthcare system and assured them of free medical screening and treatment during the rehabilitation program.
They have been in a different system, and one of the components that will help them to settle down in the country is to know how our health system works, to know there are different options of service delivery that we have.
This program is being coordinated by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Corps under Commissioner Helen Seku.
At least the 14 days are not in vain. You can see that people have changed. They are now loving their country. They have started even planning that after here they are going to engage themselves into the different wealth creating projects that are in the country. I believe majority will go away positive about the country, positive about patriotism, positive about Pan-Africanism and democracy.
Bernard Higa, UBC, Chankwanzi.
Prosecution is to rely on information gathered by intelligence on lawyer Erias Lukwago and on meetings he is said to have attended in Uganda, Kenya, Greece and Switzerland, allegedly led by Dr. Kiza Besigye, which prosecutors claim were aimed at assassinating the president and overthrowing the ruling government, to prove Erias Lukwago guilty of the offense of misprision of treason. This was disclosed in an indictment presented to court by the prosecution as lawyer Erias Lukwago was committed to the High Court for full trial.
In Machindia Chief Magistrate's Court, presided over by Magistrate Sala and Basemera, lawyer Erias Lukwago is accused of the offense of misprision of treason, an offense that has kept him on remand for 1 month. Prosecution informed court that investigations have been completed and that it's ready to commit Erias Lukwago to the High Court for a full trial.
That was their fear.
In the indictment presented to court, prosecution alleges that in 2023, Erias Lukwago, together with Dr. Kiza Besigye, Haji Obedi Rutale, Ibrahim Semjunganda, Lubega Mukaku, and Charles Romshana held meetings to discuss plans intended to overturn the government Prosecution further alleges that during the same meetings, Dr. Kizabe Besigye requested Andrew Wahabwe to train some of his allies in covert intelligence and paramilitary tactics.
Between 2021 and November 2024 at various places, including Nairobi in Kenya and Kampala district in Uganda, knowing that other persons to it, Joel Wakaima, Frank Chiherere Atunda, Haj Obed Lutale, and Colonel retired Dr. Kizabe Besigye intended to commit treason.
It also alleges that Dr. Kizabe Besigye requested counterfeit Ugandan shillings into Uganda with the intention of injecting them into the economy to raise funds and destabilize the country's economy. The indictment further states that Lukwago, as leader of PFF, together with Samuel Mahoha, in 2024 mobilized and authorized the travel of PFF members to Kisumu, Kenya for training, allegedly intended to overthrow the government of the Republic of Uganda by force of arms.
Your worship, that the accused while in hospital.
According to the prosecution, although Elias Lukwago, as the leader of PFF, was aware of the meetings and alleged plots in Geneva, Switzerland, and other parts of Kenya and Uganda, he deliberately failed to report the matter to the relevant authorities. Prosecution says it will rely on evidence and exhibits, including the accused's call data records, police investigation reports, immigration records, and travel histories of Dr. Kizabe Besigye, Haj Obed Lutale, Elias Lukwago, Simon Lutalondwa, among others. Other evidence will include records confirming the various individuals who traveled outside Uganda during the periods of the alleged meetings and training sessions, recordings involving intelligence officer from CMY, electronic devices allegedly used to make the recordings, audios and video recordings of the meetings, among other exhibits. Lawyer Elias Lukwago, who physically appeared in court, unlike during the previous court sitting, was committed to High Court for full trial. After the indictment was read to him, Deborah Namamonde, Viola Nance, Subuga, UBC News.
A fresh dispute has erupted between produce dealers in Lira City and city authorities over a new revenue demand targeting trucks entering the city's produce line. The dealers say that the levy was introduced without consultation and have now threatened to shut down the produce line until their concerns are addressed.
Tension is brewing at Lira City's Awaimola Road, popularly known as the produce lane, after produce dealers rejected a new revenue demand imposed by the city authority. The dealers say they have been asked to pay a produce entry permit, with the trucks reportedly required to pay at least 150,000 shillings. They insist this is a new arrangement that was introduced without adequate consultation or sensitization.
See, in developed countries, the people who are highly respected are business people. But here in Lira, there's no respect for us, especially produce dealers. Those who are having shops outside there, they have no problem. But the only problem is with produce dealers. People who are concerned, you should really have mercy upon us.
The traders say they are already overwhelmed by the rising cost of doing business. They explain that most of their produce is imported from Tanzania, where they incur heavy taxes before facing additional expenses along the way. On top of this, they say they already pay income tax, trading licenses, rent and other business-related costs.
From tomorrow, we're not going to open unless they come and talk to us and let us know what is going on. If not, we are not ready to do that.
They say they are not opposed to paying taxes, but insist that any revenue demand must be fair and introduced through proper consultation.
Maybe at the border, the trading license,
Now this revenue is paid by a person who is bringing his or her produce into the city, and it is an old revenue They want other people to pay. But for them, when they go and buy from Tanzania and then bring in, they shouldn't pay. I think that is where the contention is. We are going to sit down and then sort it out with them. But it is not a new revenue. It is a revenue which has been there.
Whether the city authority will engage the dealers and avert the threatened shutdown now remains to be seen. Eddie Ulwa, UBC News.
Government has stepped up efforts to protect and restore the country's forests, making the conservation of central and local forest reserves a key priority in the 2026-27 financial year. According to the Ministry of Water and Environment, about 1.6 million hectares of central forest reserves will be protected, while 125,000 hectares of degraded natural forests will be restored. Susan Nawonga with the report.
Uganda continues to face increasing pressure on forests due to illegal logging, charcoal burning, agriculture expansion, and human settlement. To reverse the trend, the government in 2026-2027 financial year budget allocated 25 billion shillings towards forest conservation, part of which will be used for protection and restoration.
What we have in our budget is basically to support the protection of the central forest reserves, primarily to start with, protecting the central forest reserves, and then also doing restoration.
This financial year, approximately 1.6 million hectares of central forest reserves will be protected, while 125,000 hectares of degraded natural forests will be restored.
We have about 1.2 million, 1,260,000 hectares of central forest reserves, and that is ideally what the budget is supposed to provide for.
This will be done through initiatives like assisted regeneration and tree planting to improve the quality of forest resources.
125,000 hectares of restoration. This is mainly in degraded natural forests, where we're doing evictions and cancelling titles, and land becomes available. Then we also do restoration. In some aspects, it's just with just protection, the forests recover on their own. But we do assisted regeneration by replanting with indigenous in those degraded places.
Beyond tree planting, government has outlined several additional measures to safeguard forest resources, like regulating the harvesting of trees for timber and charcoal, strengthening stakeholder partnerships, increasing public awareness, and regulating forestry exports. This will not be limited to empowerment of enforcement officers at grassroots administrative structures, and reopening and maintaining of forest boundaries.
Harvesting and movement of forest produce. That is also work of the ministry. That is part of enforcement. Within the same area, of course, there are areas that are more degraded than others, and yes, so we also set priority for restoration.
In a nationwide tree planting campaign targeting 40 million trees annually, the ministry has a target of increasing Uganda's forest cover from 12.7% to at least 15.5% over the next 5 years. This will be done through monitoring and supervision of licensed operators, enhancing quality assurance systems, and promoting production and distribution of tree seedlings to improve the survival rate of planted trees.
We have a target of 40 million trees every year. As government, we set a target of 20 million. We have a target of 20 million, which we use for our own planting, but then also for issuance to the private sector, while to communities, anyone else that needs, with conditions.
Forests in Uganda are broadly classified according to ownership and ecological condition. These include central forest reserves managed by government, local forest reserves managed by local governments, community forests managed by local communities, and private forests owned by individuals and institutions. Susan Nawonga reporting for UBC TV.
And in more news, thousands of residents in Nakawomeka village in Kamira Town Council, Luwero district are appealing to the government to intervene over an escalating land dispute dispute that they say has left many facing eviction and assault individuals claiming ownership of the land. The residents have petitioned the senior presidential assistant in charge of special duties, Fiona Barungi, seeking protection.
The disputed land is located in Nakawomeka village, Kamira Town Council in Luwero district. The property measuring more than 600 acres and registered as MRV 592, Folio 5, Block 565, Plot 1, Bulemezi, is home to more than 10,000 Bibanja occupants. The land is claimed by two families, the family of the late David Japians Oloka and that of the late Yekonia Kibedi Menya, Zebamzale, each asserting ownership.
Abantu bano nebo yingira wano kati amayumba agamubaga kubebigo teri akyasula mu nyumba ye sebo osi w'ekitundu kino abatuze bakwemulugunyako tobayambye gweke nnyini gwawerekera abo batigomya.
They arrested the chairman for this area. They arrested most of the people in this area.
Local leaders accuse Mark Japians Oloka, the son of the late David Japians Oloka, together with several other individuals including Alex Bujimbi and Abbas, of subjecting residents to harassment, unlawful evictions, assaults and arrests as they attempt to take control of the land.
Kati bazee wange batamusangamu ne batwala munze. If that lady makes a statement, you heard her? What case did you put on that woman? Because her husband wasn't in the house.
They came to this village. They use a lot of power. We don't know where they get this mandate to come and abduct people.
Residents narrated the hardships they have endured, saying many have fled their homes after receiving threats.
No.
The government to come and help this, the residents, to come and help the people, because the people were tortured, were caned, were arrested without any warrant.
Representing the family of the late Yekonia Kibedi Menya Zilabamuzale, Stephen Nyende Muliowa maintained that the land rightfully belongs to his grandfather, who he says purchased it in 1937. On the other hand, Mark Japians Oloka insists that his late father legally acquired the same land from the family of Yekonia Kibedi Menya Zilabamuzale.
Mubasasura mungeri ki because waliwo yagambye ekazi munana ne muwako eka. That's right.
No. Enchaja nkuwe teke erifugo omuntu w'ekibanja ne landlord. Bwaba aganya omukolo otya. Naye nze nkiwulidde eno eruweru. Nti bakukwata ne bakusiba bondi olina okufiirwa ettaka n'ovaayo. N'oba waatema omupoliisi omusango gukugibwako.
Naye CDF tayagala bubbi, tayagala impunity, tayagala corruption musajja watu. Naye kati n'okweno ngamba nva mu office ya CDF kati omanye eyo togenda waliwo handling commissioner ate ne minister Babaranda handling ogiroleka.
Following a meeting with the affected residents, Senior Presidential Assistant on Special Duties Fiona Barungi directed that all Bibanja occupants should immediately return to their Bibanjas, citing President Yoweri Museveni's standing directive that lawful Bibanja holders should not be unlawfully evicted.
I asked the residents here to make sure there is peace and harmony, and I have told them to have a status quo. Everything should stay the way it is.
Barungi also instructed the police to provide security for the residents as investigations continue to establish the rightful ownership of the disputed land. She further warned Mark Japians Oloka against any further harassment or intimidation of the occupants.
Then as I try to look for the truth, and then the police investigates, and the Ministry of Land gives us, the authentic kind of search jebatuwadde. Wetukomera wano tusanga nawo otaddeko akakiiko n'abantu bano mbalabye bakulembeze balungi mumanye nti ono yali wano yalinawo ekibanja bwenkana bweki.
Sandra Kahonde, Jamil Sekaja, UBC News.
As the debate continues over recent developments in Uganda's media industry, the Uganda Human Rights Commission is calling for a different conversation. Commissioner Crispin Kaheru says instead of looking at the issue through a political lens, Ugandans should first see it as a matter of human rights. He says media freedom and freedom of expression are constitutional rights, but they also come with responsibility.
The conversation around media freedom has grown louder in recent days. But for Uganda Human Rights Commission, the focus should not only be on politics, but on promoting rights. Commissioner Crispin Kaheru says freedom of expression and media freedom are essential to any democratic society.
Like every right, media freedom carries responsibilities. That is why any restriction must satisfy the human rights test. It should pursue a legitimate objective. It should also pursue a necessary objective. It should be proportionate. It should be subject to independent review.
Kaheru says Uganda's media space has expanded significantly over the years, with hundreds of radio stations, television channels, newspapers and online platforms. He believes the country has a diverse and vibrant media environment. He says that freedom, however, must always be matched with professionalism.
Media organizations, for their part, and this is very serious, are expected to report accurately, they are expected to report fairly, professionally, and ethically to avoid content that unlawfully incites violence, content that incites hatred, and content that might actually incite discrimination.
On the recent closure of Nation Media Group, Kaheru avoids discussing the merits of the case. Instead, he says any action taken against a media house should allow room for legal and administrative redress. He adds that the Uganda Human Rights Commission is following the matter within its constitutional mandate.
And we remain actively engaged from a human rights perspective, and we look forward to a lawful, timely, and rights-respecting resolution that strengthens the public confidence. But I should also say this. It is important to avoid making broad conclusions from a single incident. The state of media freedom in Uganda can be better assessed through a wider picture.
To him, the health of media freedom should not be judged by a single event, but by whether journalists can do their work professionally, whether institutions respect the law, and whether disputes are resolved fairly. Henry Okrut, UBC.
More in our UBC News tonight. The suspension of silverfish fishing in Chiyindi, Buikwe district has left hundreds of families struggling to survive, with local leaders linking the loss of livelihoods to rising school dropouts, domestic violence, and HIV infections in island communities. More details in this report.
For months, women who depend on silverfish processing and trade have been without work, forcing many households into financial hardship.
So our appeal is about the decrease on whatever we are using. Decrease the net, decrease the fishing days, decreasing the fishing holidays, and then construct institutions around lake shores. Because here in Chiyindi, whoever grows wants to go into the lake to fish, because there is no alternative. If you don't want to go to fish, you will go in another business related to fishing. Mother is not able to contribute to school fees, where a mother is not able to do anything at home, or a father. But now you find a family being divided because the woman is looking for money from another man. So that has caused a lot of wrangles, but it was not here. It was not here before.
The affected fishermen are now appealing to President Yoweri Museveni to lift the suspension, promising to comply with all fisheries regulations.
But I want to assure the fisher folk that by end of this month, the regulations will be done. Beginning of next month, we shall be taking them to Parliament. And this will help to solve a number of the outstanding issues. They will be solved by the regulations. Those people being in Mukene, they will fish, but they will be guided on which method and how. Those people of Mputa and whatever, everything, we are here to regulate the entire sector, not only Mukene or Ngege or Mputa alone, the entire sector.
The growing crisis prompted the State Minister for Fisheries and Agriculture, Robert Migadde, to meet fishermen and local leaders at Chiyindi Port to listen to their concerns.
Of course, we have discovered a number of issues which are actually creating a problem to government. And we will continue up to discover why the president may have scored not well in certain areas. Because some of these issues are individual mistakes. So our duty now is we are continuing with the countrywide familiarization tour. I'll visit as many learning sites as possible, as many islands as possible, so that I affiliate myself with the situation. Much as know, but I know about Bupuma, I may not know about Namaing and others. So you'll keep seeing me and my team in different areas.
Boyikwe district leaders warned that prolonged unemployment is exposing young people to crime and risky behavior, while poverty is worsening the spread of HIV in island communities.
As the woman member of parliament, I told my people, I gave them an oversight that if they can get alternative methods that can help them.
Minister Migadde assured the fishermen that government is considering their concerns and pledged to work towards a lasting solution, urging them to cooperate with authorities and observe fisheries laws. For UBC News, I am Sudat Kaye.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries has launched a nationwide campaign aimed at restoring order and promoting sustainable fishing on Uganda's lakes. The campaign was officially flagged off by the State Minister for Fisheries, Honorable Robert Migadde, who led a team from the ministry to engage fishing communities on how best to stabilize the fisheries sector.
The restoration drive, which seeks to promote sustainable fishing and restore sanity on Uganda's lakes, began at Katosi landing site in Mukono district before proceeding to Chiyindi landing site in Boyikwe district. During the engagements, Honorable Robert Migadde held discussions with fishermen, fish traders and local leaders on the challenges affecting the fisheries sector and explored possible solutions to ensure sustainable fishing practices.
If we are going to support fish farming, they should be organized as groups. So this is what we call upon them. Of course, every group has a leader. We need to see that these leaders can come together for a common cause.
Fishermen used the meeting to express dissatisfaction with the operations of the Fisheries Protection Unit. They alleged that instead of protecting the sector, some officers have mistreated law-abiding fishermen and fish traders while carrying out enforcement operations. Women engaged in silver fishing, processing and trade also voiced their concerns, saying their livelihoods have been severely affected by restrictions on Mukene fishing.
Our children are now not schooling, they are no longer going to school. We are failing of paying school fees.
Girls are getting pregnant, no food which you can eat at home. People are getting sickness, especially these little children.
Chiyindi Town Mayor Amir Chigundo echoed the concerns, noting that many households have lost their primary source of income following the decline in the Mukene trade.
Like Chiyindi Town Council budget was cut by like 30% because most of the activities are related to Mukene fisheries. Business operators in Chiyindi depend on Mukene fisheries, whereby per now everyone is off the lake.
The State Minister in the Office of the Vice President and Woman Member of Parliament for Buyike District, Diana Mutasingwa, urged fishing communities to diversify their sources of income instead of relying solely on fishing.
That if they can get alternative methods that can help them to make a living, like agriculture, growing coffee.
Closing the engagement, Honorable Robert Mikade called on fishermen to end internal conflicts and work closely with the government to restore order in the sector, and reaffirmed government's commitment to supporting genuine fishermen who comply with fisheries regulations.
One, they should first come together. They should know that they are fighting for the lake, and all of them, their mother is the lake. They should come together. This will also help us to lobby from government. The President promised 1 billion for every district. But the 1 billion cannot come when people are still confused, fighting each other.
For generations, Uganda's lakes have been a lifeline of thousands of families. But today, many fishermen say the waters that once guaranteed their livelihoods have become a source of uncertainty, marked by declining catches, strict enforcement, and growing disputes.
Despite poverty, cultural barriers and challenges that continue to hinder the education of many girls in Karamoja, the MasterCard scholarship gave Alice Namongin the opportunity to pursue her dreams. Let's take a look.
In a region where poverty, early marriages, and school dropouts have long denied many girls an education, a young woman has written the story of hope. Born and raised in Ik community, Kabong district, Alice Namongin grew up in a humble family of 4 mothers and 15 children, where access to education was a daily struggle.
Besides the insecurities, we moved distances to access this education. And I grew up in a community where there was actually one primary school that was not finished then.
Like many girls in her community, she faced the risk of leaving school early due to financial hardship and society expectations, but she refused to let her circumstances define her future.
Sometimes, yes, there was a lorry which used to ferry us, but you would even hear the shootings. Yes, they would even shoot at the lorry. I am 24 years old, so that was a scare to many children to even be sent away. And if most vulnerable, my community, most people are vulnerable. They cannot actually afford to take their children to school. So why would they risk to take a child to school for all those 64 kilometers?
Her determination and hard work earned her a MasterCard Foundation scholarship in Makerere, giving her the opportunity to pursue higher education. Through resilience and sacrifice, Alice became the first girl in her community to attain a Bachelor of Science in Business Statistics, breaking barriers that had stood for generations.
So they look at the length someone has to take in education as taking long. You're not bringing the returns, you're not bringing the value, and that is where I come from. There is still no value. Like the parents themselves don't see a value a girl will bring after pursuing an education. That's why it is easy to even sell, to give out a girl. You know, to give out a girl. In my senior 6, I was almost being given.
Today, her journey from grass to grace is inspiring parents to educate their daughters and encouraging young girls to dream beyond the limitations of poverty. Her success stands as proof that with opportunity, support, and determination, even the most difficult beginnings can lead to extraordinary achievements.
To me, yes, I spoke up for myself. That's why actually certain things did not happen to me. Yes, so I believe there is always this saying that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is definitely light at the end of the tunnel. Even though you see the darkness, there is that light somewhere, and you have to walk towards that light.
Alice's story is not only a personal victory, it is a beacon of hope for Kabong and a reminder that investing in the education of the girl child transforms families, communities, and the nation. Charity Marion Imnat, reporting for UBC News.
For decades, conflict denied many communities in Rwenzori the peace needed for growth and prosperity. Now, leaders are urging former rebels to abandon violence and also embrace the government's amnesty program. The Kasese Peace, Security and Reception Center says that lasting peace remains the region's greatest investment.
Years of insecurity slowed development across the Rwenzori sub-region. Communities across the area lost livelihoods, opportunities and hope. Today, leaders believe peace offers a fresh beginning for natives.
And so far we have handled those clients, we call them clients, close to 274. We received them and they were rehabilitated and reintegrated back to their society.
3 years ago, the Kasese Peace, Security and Reception Center was established. It was meant to receive former rebels who surrendered and sought government amnesty. The center team leader, Christopher Kibanzanga, wants former rebel fighters to abandon rebellion.
For President Museveni, peace, reconciliation, pardon, presidential pardon is in his DNA. Simply come home. You will be received and immediately the president will grant you amnesty.
To Kibanzanga, reintegration begins with changing attitudes. Fortunately, development partners, including the United Nations, support these reintegration efforts.
You know, President Museveni is always ahead of time. He realized that he has already opened up a center in Kasese, and he directed the UN, he directed the regional peace initiatives to come and work with us closely. And as I talk now, we are working with UN closely to make sure that there is peace in Rwenzori sub-region.
His message particularly targets ADF fighters operating in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. With the former Rwenzururu Royal Guards being mobilized into wealth creation programs, the center's administrator, Sulait Kule, says reintegration goes beyond amnesty.
What we do is discuss with those people and then reach out to measures that will peacefully settle them without any inconvenience.
A similar message is carried by the Assistant RDC, Henry Kabiriri, who urges communities to safeguard peace.
Now that we have free education for primary, free education for secondary school, please, let's have our children stay in school and finish school.
For Rwenzori, the belief is one: peace remains the strongest foundation for lasting development. Henry Okrut, UBC.
And with that, let's take a short commercial break. When we return, we'll be back with more UBC News. Don't go far.
And that's it for today. Till the next episode.
Like a daily bando, like a daily bando, like a daily bando. Omuliro nguwulira muli mumutima kukankana like drums. Kalakata, kalakata, enendungu yakusabula. Mikono free of fire, free of fire, free of fire.
We don't need anyone's permission to move forward. What we need is the power to do it our way. Spiro is not your typical EV company. It's the power grid for African ambition. A network that connects Nairobi to Kigali, Lagos to Lomé, Dar to Kampala. Not with cables and wires, but with clean, quiet, relentless movement. This is Africa, powered by us.
What if accessing government services became easier, faster and closer to you? Introducing Service Uganda Centers, a new initiative designed to bring key government services closer to the people under one convenient location. Less movement from office to office, less unnecessary travel, better access to services and information. At the Service Uganda Centers, citizens will be able to access national ID services, passport processing, business registration, land and revenue services, and more, all in one convenient location. Whether you are in the city or a country, Service Uganda Centers are being designed with you in mind. Enjoy faster service, professional guidance, and a seamless customer experience. This is an initiative of the Government of Uganda, digitally powered by the National Information Technology Authority Uganda, NITA, under the Uganda Digital Acceleration Project Government Network. Service Uganda Centers, bringing services closer to the people.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight. The government has launched a renewed campaign to strengthen the fight against corruption, beginning with resident district commissioners and resident city commissioners who have been tasked with intensifying the monitoring of government programs and ensuring that the greater accountability in public service is managed. The Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, says that the move is in line with President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's directive to eliminate corruption and safeguard public resources for the benefit of all Ugandans.
The Office of the President has begun implementing a renewed anti-corruption drive with resident district commissioners and resident city commissioners taking the lead in strengthening oversight of government programs across the country.
This directive is not merely an administrative instruction. It is a national call to action aimed at protecting taxpayers' money, restoring integrity in public service, and ensuring that every government program delivers meaningful benefits to the people of Uganda.
Babalanda directed all RDCs and RCCs to closely supervise government programs.
Cases of abandoned projects, delayed completion, inflated contract costs, shoddy work and poor workmanship, fraudulent payments, ghost projects, and misuse of public resources remain a major concern. Such practices deny the wananchi quality services and slow our national development agenda. Government will therefore not tolerate any conduct that undermines service delivery.
She warned against the misuse of public resources and condemned corruption in all its forms, including the selling of government jobs.
The disturbing reports involving the selling of government jobs at both central and local government levels. Public employment is not a commodity for sale. Recruitment into public service must remain merit-based, transparent, and competitive.
As part of the renewed enforcement measures, the Office of the President will conduct nationwide monitoring visits to assess the implementation of government programs with particular attention on the utilization of parish development model funds.
Every district should maintain comprehensive records indicating the number of beneficiaries who have received PDM funds, the enterprises they invested in, how those enterprises were selected, the extension services provided, enterprise performance, and the status of loan recovery under the revolving fund.
Babalanda reaffirmed government's commitment to improving household incomes through initiatives such as 4-acre model and the parish development model. Irene Faith Nantongo, Rogers Komagum, UBC News.
The Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda, ICPAU, has opened the 14th CPA Economic Forum, bringing together policymakers, government officials, business leaders, economists, development partners, and accounting professionals to discuss practical strategies for accelerating Uganda's economic transformation. The three-day forum, taking place at Imperial Resort Beach Hotel in Entebbe and online, is being held under the theme Powering Uganda's $500 billion Future. The forum is focusing on the reforms, investments and innovations required to expand Uganda's economy nearly tenfold and achieve the country's long-term development aspirations.
The discussions at the forum are centered on strengthening businesses, attracting both domestic and foreign investment, promoting innovation, improving public financial management, and developing a highly skilled workforce capable of supporting economic growth. Opening the forum, ICPAU President CPA David Timothy Ediomu commended government's efforts in domestic revenue mobilization and the implementation of the ATM's strategy, which focuses on agro-industrialization, tourism development, minerals development, and science, technology, and innovation. Ediomu stressed the importance of accountability, good governance, strategic investment, and stronger public-private partnerships in achieving Uganda's ambition of building a $500 billion economy. He noted that professional accountants have a key role in promoting transparency, ethical leadership, and efficient management of resources. Representing the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, and Secretary to the Treasury, Dr. Ramadhan Gobi, the Commissioner for Macroeconomic Policy at the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Joseph Enyom, called for greater discipline, innovation and productivity to accelerate economic diversification.
Of course, you are familiar with the fact that a lot of accounting also is getting simplified with the fourth industrial revolution with AI. So what is the role of the new accountant in an AI era?
Enyom said Uganda's transformation will depend on increased value addition, stronger institutions, improved competitiveness, and deliberate investments in sectors with high growth potential.
What is the level of courage among the accountants to hold the standard? I think that is a conversation we must have very honestly and find ways and means to make it something we take pleasure in as a fraternity, but that you can also swing the society.
ICPAU Chief Executive Officer said CPA Economic Forum continues to provide a critical platform for research, dialogue and collaboration aimed at generating practical solutions for Uganda's economic challenges. The forum features keynote addresses, panel discussions and technical sessions examining the role of professional accountants in strengthening corporate governance, enhancing domestic revenue mobilization, improving financial transparency, and supporting Uganda's economic transformation agenda.
Mr. Ibu alluded to that. We are now speaking to government and say you need to lead the way, which are those state-owned enterprises that we've been.
So the question is, as we sit here as accountants, we have got to ask ourselves, what is our individual contribution towards the 500 billion?
Delegates attending the forum are expected to develop recommendations that will guide future policy interventions and support Uganda's journey towards a resilient, inclusive and sustainable $500 billion economy.
Political parties under the National Consultative Forum are calling for reforms to Uganda's political financing framework, urging government to extend public funding to all registered parties regardless of parliamentary representations.
Registered political parties meeting in Jinja say expanding government funding will strengthen multi-party democracy and reduce reliance on foreign donors.
We hope that by the end of this exercise, this two-day workshop, political parties, individual political parties will be able to identify the role they can play to ably strengthen that so that they serve the general population, but most importantly, the members of the public that subscribe to those political parties.
The two-day dialogue, supported by Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy, also reviewed the country's post-election political environment.
Champions sustainable societies. I've not known a better governance approach than democracy that is able to manage contradictions, that is able to manage diversities of ethnicity, religion, and bring them together.
It's not wrong for parties to say that they also need a bit of money to be able to organize themselves. Parties don't function only in the election year. They need to organize themselves, they need to sell their ideology, they need to recruit, they need what? That responsibility is not solely for the party members, no. It's a responsibility of the state also.
NCF Chairperson Godfrey Chiwanda supported the proposal, saying all registered parties should receive public funding to promote democratic growth.
That we should fund these political parties. So the parties that are within Parliament and those outside Parliament should be funded. Funding may not be equal, but there must be something that helps this party to stand and let them operation for the good of our country.
However, Democratic Front Secretary General Michael Maviki argued funding should only benefit parties represented in Parliament. The Electoral Commission urged parties to use their MPs to pursue any necessary legal amendments.
What are lessons that were picked from the recently concluded general election, and so having the feedback that comes from Secretaries General of political parties into that conversation that is part of what we are discussing is also a very significant exercise.
The Office of the Prime Minister, in partnership with other stakeholders, has commended a nationwide training of trainers of farmers and livestock keepers about the agricultural insurance. The scheme aims at protecting them from losses, and under this scheme, farmers who suffer losses due to unforeseen threats or disasters such as droughts, floods and other natural calamities will be compensated, provided they are registered. In Buganda, the campaign has started in Luwero, where farmers are being sensitized about the project.
Over the years, farmers have been suffering losses due to prolonged drought and excessive rainfall. In a move to address the matter, the government, through the Office of the Prime Minister, in partnership with Offcell Technologies Limited and Agro Consortium, has rolled out a nationwide agriculture insurance program targeting all categories of farmers, including livestock keepers. The sensitization program has begun in different parts of the country, and in Buganda, Luwero district is the first to benefit. Leading the training, Harrison Businje said the program is intended to ensure that farmers benefit from their agriculture activities, adding that they are encouraged to join cooperatives in order to access the support.
Trained and categorized as a team should be bringing help that will be benefiting the entire household in the district, other than individuals that eventually end up taxing are not beneficial to the community.
Businje further explained that the insurance scheme does not discriminate and is readily accessible to both crop farmers and livestock keepers.
Small income farmers, in fact very, very poor farmers of our communities. It covers both agriculture and cattle farming. The insurance covers chicken, it covers goats, it covers cows.
John Makosia, Chief Operation and Impact Officer from Agro Consortium, assured farmers that the agriculture insurance scheme has no hidden conditions, emphasizing that those who genuinely suffer will be compensated.
The truth of the matter is loss is loss, and it is evident because if the drought has struck and everything has dried, there's no debate that there was no drought. And in case of flooding, of course floods, the waters will be there, and there will be evidence that actually even if you come 2-3 days later, one will be able to see this place flooded, and it is down which caused this much damage.
Godfrey Tumusime, the CEO of Offcell Technologies Limited, which is working directly with the Office of the Prime Minister to implement the program, urged farmers to embrace the scheme.
Come together and know that they should not be selfish, and when something is starting, the logistics sometimes are not enough, but they should have the heart to disseminate the information to other people.
Some farmers welcome the initiative.
Okusoma kutusomye kulungi nnyo era kujja tuyamba tudde mu kyalo byaffe tusomesa abatuuze nabo basobola okuba nga bayingira mu kintu kino kuba kintu kyaffe.
The Farmers and Livestock Keepers Insurance Scheme is available across the entire country, with the government providing compensation to registered beneficiaries who incur losses due to unforeseen disasters.
Makerere University has outlined its priorities for the new academic year with a renewed focus at improving the quality of teaching and learning, advancing research and innovation, and also implementation of its 2026-2030 scheduled press conference ahead of the commencement of the academic year. University leaders highlighted key developments aimed at enhancing student welfare, strengthening governance, investing in infrastructure, and preparing graduates to meet the demands of the rapidly evolving job market.
I would like to invite...
We hope as IDI to embed students and give them placement so that as we respond to this outbreak, we are also fulfilling our teaching mandate. There are a lot of lessons that can be learned in the context of the outbreak, and we are very excited that by hosting this team, we can develop this into an avenue for giving students a hands-on experience.
The university is expected to highlight new initiatives aimed at improving mental health services, accommodation, campus safety, and the overall student experience.
As you are aware, we already renovated the Lumumba and we renovated the Mary Stewart. We have moved on to CCE. So CCE is a unique hall because part of it is also academic facilities.
The Vice-Chancellor says the university remains focused on delivering quality education, strengthening research, and achieving measurable progress under the new strategic plan.
The professors will lead the research, but the people who will actually conduct and support this research are the graduate students. We are not going to reduce the number of undergraduate students. We have abandoned that, but we are going to increase the number of graduate students and number of graduate programs.
Doing a lot. There's actually a lot of work. We are mapping the ecosystems, the different knowledge ecosystems that are discipline specific, but also the research ecosystem in the university, the front end, which includes the ideation, then the research, then the innovation, then the incubation, and then from the incubation you go into the commercialization, rollout, uptake, mass production.
The Human Resource Manager also outlined opportunities for staff development, including training in digital learning, research and the use of emerging technologies. This academic year, the university will host the East African Universities Debate Championships from 26 July to 1st August under the theme, From Dialogue to Action, the Role of Youth in Africa's Transformation,
including leadership, critical thinking, and social responsibility.
It is bringing together more than 20 universities across East Africa. We shall have English and some little bit of French-speaking countries joining us for the event. It is going to be a residential tournament for the whole week.
As the new academic year begins, Makerere says it remains committed to producing graduates, innovators, and leaders who will contribute to Uganda's transformation.
MTN voice bundle. Load. Hey. Hello, Mama. Hey, it is me, your son, of you. Hey, now, Mama, listen to me. MTN has the offer. Yes, it has the offer. You load from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Now, they have free MTN to MTN minutes. And those minutes are there all day. So you load, you'll thank me later. Hey, Mama.
Load an MTN voice bundle between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. and get 3 free MTN to MTN minutes valid all day. Dial *100 *21# and get your free minutes bully daily. Free your fire with free minutes from MTN. Together, our connection is unstoppable. MTN.
We don't need anyone's permission to move forward. We never have. What we need is the power to do it our way, to move our people, our goods, our ideas, across cities that breathe with our energy. Spiro is not your typical EV company. It's the power grid for African ambition. A network that connects Nairobi to Kigali, Lagos to Lome, Dar to Kampala. Not with cables and wires, but with clean, quiet, relentless movement. Every swap keeps the city running. Every ride links one life to another. We're copying no one else's future. It's we who powers the cities we live in. It's we who shapes the world they'll become. This is Africa, powered by us.
Are you an elite runner, fitness enthusiast, or adventure seeker? Get ready for a run in paradise at the Fort Portal City Marathon on July 18th, 2026. Experience the beauty, culture, and energy of Uganda's tourism city for only 60,000 Ugandan shillings. Register now at www.fortcitymarathon.com or dial *272*7#. Mwije tugende toro for a run in paradise in partnership with the Tourism Ministry, Capital Radio, Rock Telecom, Castle Light, Jeans Club, Kahive, and Toro Kingdom.
They share an office. Some work in the day, some at night. What they have in common: focus, dedication. That's what makes them champions. They also share something else: the reward of being one. The official beer of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Not for persons under the age of 18. Drink responsibly.
Step into elegance, step into confidence, step into La Vie Boutique. Located at Grand Imperial Hotel, Shop 6 and 8, right behind Bank of Uganda. La Vie Boutique brings you high-class corporate and casual wear for men. From sharp designer suits and crisp shirts to stylish casual t-shirts, tracksuits, shoes and accessories, we've got everything to make you stand out. Call us on 0772 419 181 or 0705 555 558. La Vie Boutique, where class meets style.
Welcome back. And in the world of business, Uganda's financial institutions are stepping up efforts to support businesses and entrepreneurs with financing solutions aimed at expanding enterprises, promoting financial inclusion, and contributing to economic growth. This was highlighted during separate engagements by the Pearl Bank and Centenary Bank, where emphasis was placed on supporting businesses, improving access to finance, and strengthening customer-focused solutions.
Close of a 3-day Agri-SME Bootcamp organized by Pearl Bank in partnership with Ronald in Africa, agribusinesses were encouraged to leverage available financing opportunities to scale their operations and become more competitive. The bootcamp brought together more than 30 agribusinesses from across Uganda, with participants receiving guidance on business growth, governance, systems development, funding readiness, and strategies for accessing larger financing facilities. Pearl Bank Regional Head for Greater Kampala, Martin Luchamzi, said agriculture remains a key pillar of Uganda's economy and urged entrepreneurs to combine sound business practices with appropriate financial solutions to expand, create jobs, and improve food security.
I believe in the communities there, they will become the torchbearers, because growth will be delivered, and their peers or their neighbors will, at the end of the day, also seek to join Pearl Bank and seek to get the wisdom we have offered them.
Meanwhile, Centenary Bank has ushered in a new leadership era with the introduction of Mr. Godfrey Vyekwaso as its new managing director, taking over from Mr. Fabian Kasi. During a media engagement, Kasi reflected on the bank's growth and achievements during his tenure, including strengthening its position as a leading financial institution and expanding access to banking services across the country.
So I'm happy that we are farming continuity of the institution. I'm happy that we are farming sustainability. this institution. Having been around for over 40 years, we found it there. We've added, whatever contribution we have. And of course, there is always need to have other people coming and also continue to contribute to the growth of that one institution.
We continue to inculcate the values in our people, especially the value of integrity and professionalism. Because some of the frauds that happen in institutions are actually are supported by we the insiders.
And in the world of sports, preparations are underway for the 2026 Rwenzori Marathon, which will be held in Kasese on August 22nd. The annual event is expected to attract thousands of athletes, fitness enthusiasts, and tourists from Uganda and abroad.
Government has committed 3.7 billion Uganda shillings to the Ministry of Education and Sports to support the 2026 Rwenzori Marathon. The funding fulfills a pledge made by the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Kataha Museveni.
Under the leadership of Mama, the First Lady, government is going to commit 3.7 billion into the Mount Rwenzori Marathon in this year's edition.
The symbolic check was handed over by the Minister of State for Sports, Peter Ugwang, who also confirmed that government will continue supporting the marathon over the next 4 years.
We love our country. I have spoken to some of the elite athletes myself. And Mr. Amos, they are ready to participate in this. Because I've told them there's no way we can build our brand if we don't participate ourselves.
The minister assured organizers of government's full backing, saying the marathon has become an important platform for promoting Uganda through sports.
In Fort-Gentil, all rooms had been booked. And you know what? In a garage, we were bathing in shifts. And by there was a member of parliament at that time. How much are we paying? $300 to put your head. So what am I trying to bring here to our people? That these opportunities have come. Now it's up to you to maximize the opportunity. That's where the government achieves its purpose of collecting revenue.
The Uganda National Council of Sports also reaffirmed its commitment to supporting sporting events that create opportunities for athletes and contribute to national development.
By your side, we'll work with you together with the other sponsors, and we call upon all the other entities out there that wish to partner with sports and with tourism to be able to make an investment that can make the Mount Rwenzori Marathon a huge, huge marathon that the world can never at any one point ignore.
Tourism entrepreneur and marathon promoter Amos Wekesa welcomed the increased government support.
For making sure that we form the First Lady. The First Lady invited us because of the minister. And she invited us because she was told $4 billion came to run Rwenzori Marathon last year. And people came from 36 countries. And she was shocked. She actually did a standing ovation for us, remember, Honorable. And she was shocked how we could do this and said, why didn't you ask us to support you? And we said we needed to show that we know what we're doing before you can support us. So I want to thank you generally as the Ministry of Sports and take our thanks to the First Lady for this particular move.
Organizers say the marathon continues to create business opportunities for communities around the Rwenzori region while positioning Uganda as a destination for international sports tourism. Sandra Kahonde, Robert Katamba, News Tonight.
And that brings us to the end of our UBC News Tonight. Thank you very much for being a lovely audience. My name is Wadulo Arnold Mark, and allow us wish
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
football spectacle is here. From the vibrant cities of Canada, the passion of Mexico, and the grand stages of the United States, the FIFA World Cup 2026 is set to ignite the planet. Every goal, every save, every moment of glory, live and unforgettable on UBC TV and all its radio stations.
From the streets of Rio to the night and day.
Follow Africa's finest, football's biggest stars, and the battle for the most converted trophy in world football. Where legends rise, dreams come alive, and history is made. UBC is the home of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Stay tuned to UBC TV and all UBC's radio stations, bringing the world to Uganda, one match at a time.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
So far, we have engaged several MDAs, and among them, we have worked for State House. We have a project for State House, one project. We have, that is for Princess Bagaya. We're constructing a residence for her. We are doing some work for Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We are actually rehabilitating Uganda House, Nairobi. The works have just started. We're doing some work for Ministry of Public Service, Posta Uganda. We're doing some projects for Kampala City Council Authority. Some schools and health centers. We're doing a project for UNEB, Uganda National Examinations Board Center. We are doing some work for Kampala Archdiocese, again, that is a State House project, sponsored. We are doing some work for Judicial Service Commission. Then we're also doing some work for Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, Ministry of Education and Sports. Those we are having 120 projects we are undertaking.